Well, how shall we talk about it today? Moi друзья, с Новым годом 2014. Что не так с миром? What's wrong with the world? Some things are very strange. The thing I don't understand is particularly with Russia. What I don't understand is everything seems to be reversed of what it was in the 60s and 70s. Now America is a centrally planned economy and system, centrally planned, centrally controlled, with surveillance that surpasses none. Stuff that would even make the Stasi blush, the KGB. And so it kind of makes you wonder why some of the events are strange as they are. So one event would be that there was a recent pardon for some businessman, Khodorovski, by Putin. And I mean, it's up to them. I mean, they had the legal system, and they went through the courts, and things happened, and then Putin issues a pardon sometime after, and then you wonder, why does it even matter? I mean, for Americans and all that. I mean, I'm sure the presidents, you know, like Bush and Obama, pardon people too from time to time, and it doesn't really make big news. It's just they just want to be a nice guy, and they pardon some people from prison. So, what would be the reason that they would be telling us this? Why is it important? I'm not real sure. I have several theories. One theory is that, well, it was nearly at the end of his sentence anyway, so it's not like he hasn't been punished at all. You know, like America, they get away with it, but in Russia they don't as much. So that could be it. It could be that perhaps financial powers that be wanted this talent to be freed up for them to use. It could be that he wants to show he's just a nice guy. And the reason is because the American president, with all the surveillance revelations, comes across as not as nice a guy, because he says one thing and it always comes out that it's the opposite. So this makes President Putin's job so easy, because the American president screws it up and looks bad. So, I mean, he could just sit there and twiddle his thumbs, and Putin would look better than the American president. So, the other thing I was thinking is, it's a example. He's saying, see, here's a high-value prisoner, and I pardoned him. Doesn't that get the picture? Get the picture? And the picture is because of Snowden, I believe. Snowden is in Russia on a temporary asylum, and at some point Putin's going to have to do something about that. He's going to have a decision to have to make when the 1 year is up, and Edward Snowden has to make his plans accordingly. So that could be it too, hoping that if Obama comes through with his pardon of Snowden, then that makes sending Snowden away so much easier. But if he doesn't, I mean, he's saying, well, look, I did this, now you can do a favor for me. But I don't know, maybe that could be it too, so I don't know. What do you think it is? Why do they give us these unrelated news stories? Is it just to take our mind off of other things we should be paying attention to? Maybe that as well. So I thought I would mention that. Also, the protests in the Ukraine, because some people in the Ukraine want to join the European Union. I have no idea why. At one point, I thought the European Union was a really great idea. They wanted to make the United States of Europe. And there's certain things about making nation states come together and merge. They thought, well, it'll just be like America. We put them all together, we make the same kind of money, we make the highways go through, and easy, and it all happens. But America had a slightly different situation, because we had the various state territories. They were not totally sovereign nations of a sort at the time. They were territories. And then they would want to join in with the Union, and the territories would come in, and they were not all that different. Whereas Europe has quite a bunch of cultural differences between each of the nations, and language differences, and history differences, and wars. I mean, you don't ever hear about like that there was a war between Texas and Illinois, or between Colorado and West Virginia. That's never happened. So there's a lot less barrier to the United States having the Union versus Europe having a Union. And now that they're putting out these austerity measures, why would the Ukrainian people want to do that? I have no idea. Unless, of course, their own government is so bad and corrupt that they're thinking that Europe can't be any worse. That's the only thing I can come up with why they would want to. I mean, I think a lot of the European Union members would like to just say, bye, we'll make our own country. But I think they're all hooked into it somehow. So, one other point is this phenomenon called Bitcoin, and its own kind of internet money. And the problem with Bitcoin and its virtue is that it cannot be counterfeited. It can't be counterfeited, and there's a limited amount, and its limitation of the amount is based on the compute power available. So that means you can't print unlimited amounts of it, and it's managed with encryption. So when you look at it, the Bitcoin in the past year or two has gone up tremendously in value. I'm sure if there's a flaw in it at some point, it'll fall precipitously. Although gold has been falling, but many people think that's a manipulation. Bitcoin cannot be manipulated. And I believe an economist named Krugman came out and said he hated the Bitcoin because it can't really be managed by central banks. It can't be controlled. It can't be monitored by central banks or governments. And then it becomes a rogue currency. And to me, when they were talking about it, it sounded like they tilted their hand as to why we want to have cash and we want to have things like Bitcoin to preserve privacy, because in the background the governments are all clamoring for e-money and probably a world currency that's fiat money that they can just print as much as they want. And the e-money also makes surveillance so much easier, where cash and Bitcoin are a bit more challenging. So I just thought I'd leave that note in there too for this multiple topic thing, but I think they're somehow all related underneath. So until later, we'll be seeing you.